So pull the engine out of the car. Not too difficult, honestly. Have it pretty much separated over here. Got the engine on the engine stand. Transmission over there sitting in the corner. But yeah, overall not too difficult. For those of you who aren't familiar with what this is my 2008 Volkswagen R32. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Volkswagens, that means that this is the 3.2 liter VR6 all-wheel drive. Really nice car. It's been my daily for about probably somewhere around 5 years or something like that, and honestly it hasn't really skipped a beat. But in the past couple years, I've been neglecting some of the maintenance, so I decided to just go ahead and start that. And to me, it just made more sense to pull the engine out, and I'll show you guys why. So on the engine, to do the timing chain, which these timing chain is required every 100,000 miles, and the problem is that the timing chain on these engines, if you look at it, this is the back of the engine. So if you're sitting in the car like this, this side has the timing chain where the little bump is, but the problem is that on this side sits the transmission as well, so you have to remove the transmission to be able to get to the timing chains. Not that big of a deal. If you were to do it in the car, you could still do it, but you'd have to still pull the transmission. So I just decided to pull the whole thing, just because I knew I was going to have to regasket this whole engine, at least the top end. The bottom end doesn't really look like it's leaking that much from the crank seal or the oil pan, but I just thought it'd be good practice to just go ahead and do everything, just because, you know, why not? I don't really want to be back in this thing regasketing anything else, at least for a little while. Another thing that was failing, if you guys saw my short that I made previous to this video, you would know that this was whistling. So it's a little hole right here, and essentially what that means is that the air oil separator, or the PCV valve inside of the valve cover, is going bad. So the diaphragm inside just ruptured pretty much. And although I should have replaced that a little while ago, I just left it run for a little bit longer, just because I knew I was doing this. You can replace it inside the car, but it still requires you to pull the whole front clip, just because the valve cover, or not the valve cover, but the intake manifold wraps around from this side and wraps around all the way to the front here. So I decided, you know, it would just be a much more beneficial thing to just pull the whole thing, do everything that I had in mind as far as maintenance, and maybe a few little upgrades here and there. But yeah, honestly, not too bad of a process. Just like any other, just like pulling any other engine. That's why I didn't really record as much as I would have liked to, simply because I was just trying to get it done. But not really too difficult, honestly. Just removing fuel lines, coolant lines, vacuum lines, electrical connectors, and then removing drive shafts, axles, and yeah, and then it just pulls right out after you disconnect the engine mounts. Not really all too difficult, honestly. It just really takes more time than anything, but honestly not terrible. But now in the next few videos, you guys are going to see me do a little bit of maintenance on this. I will do a how-to on how to do the timing on this engine. There are a few already out there, really good videos. One of them specifically being The Humble Mechanic, where I got most of my information from. But yeah, if you guys want to see that, stay tuned, and we'll be doing the majority of the maintenance on this engine. Transmission as well, it's leaking a little bit. But yeah, and other than that, just putting the whole thing back together, and yeah, getting it back up to operating spec.